is my guide to wheeling. Over the couple years I've been practicing and doing wheelies, there have been things I have noticed, techniques that I have not seen posted in other wheelie tutorial videos, and I'll try my best to explain them here. First thing we want to look at is bike setup. In the beginning, you're going to want to have a seat that is a comfortable height but tall. You're going to want, I would highly recommend flat pedals and a decent rear brake for practicing and getting started. To begin wheeling, I would recommend finding a flat area of pavement or grass. I will be doing it on pavement as it's easier to demonstrate, but grass, a flat area of grass would be recommended. There are a few things you should practice to get the feel of wheeling before you fully do one. First off, you're going to want to get into an easy gear, and you're going to lean back with your arms locked with one foot on the ground and just push the pedal down, and you should bring the bike up. That's the same motion you're going to do while wheeling, except with both feet on. Practice that and feel how the bike's balance point can change, and there's a point where it wants to, instead of drop back down, go out again while you're on the seat. The technique for wheeling I have seen is you want to keep your arms locked, not super hyperextended, but comfortably straight, and keep them that way. So to initiate the wheelie in the beginning, you want to get into an easy gear, and you want to just give a quick pedal stroke in. In those, my upper body wasn't moving at all. They say you should really pull into it, which eventually is the right move, but in the beginning, I think getting the wheel up with just your pedal strokes is more important and more beneficial down the road. This part of learning to wheelie is definitely the most frustrating and time-consuming part, because for me it took a long time before I was able to actually get the front end of the bike up using just pedal strokes and keeping it up. Once you can consistently start getting the front wheel up, I would recommend practicing a few drills before you go on any further. I would recommend riding and hitting the rear brake, and that'll bring your front tire down, and you can feel that, which is going to be important later for holding wheelies for a long time. Once you can wheelie for a couple of seconds and keep the front end up for a couple of seconds, the next step I would recommend you do is, from full height, I would drop your seat about halfway. This will bring your center of weight down and will help you have a lot more control over falling side to side with the bike. The next step I would recommend is finding a slight hill so that you can start to practice, and the hill will slow you down so that you can continue wheeling without without speeding up, so that you can no longer keep your wheel up. It'll help slow you down so you can continue up at a slow pace. The next important skill in wheeling further is to be able to jump off the back of the bike. This will keep you from falling too far back, and will help you progress. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to wheelie up and then go too far and then hop off.
Once you can continuously get up a small hill or grade without speeding up too much, I would recommend you start to practice using the rear brake to slow you down. So you want to try and slowly increase and decrease speed using more pedals or more brakes. You can kind of feather the brake to go faster or slower. Once you master going up the hill, you can start practicing using the rear brake and wheeling on flat ground without speeding up.
At this point, I would recommend fully dropping your seat as low as possible. This will further bring down your center of mass and will make it a lot easier to shift your weight on the bike and balance side to side.
I would recommend then getting comfortable with using your seat and wheeling with it all the way down and using the rear brake. Once you can continue to wheelie on flat, you can start to try and wheelie down hills using the rear brake to slow you down. The next step for wheeling is turning, and keeping your arms straight was very important in the beginning to get you with good habits. But when you start to turn, you actually do start to pull to turn either direction and tilt the wheel. Also, while turning, you want to turn with your hips. You want to not just turn your upper body, but your entire hips and your lower body as well. That will turn you in the direction you choose.